Here's everything you need to do before moving to another country. I want to start not with obvious things like packing your stuff and checking your tickets, but to dig a bit deeper to prepare yourself for the move and make it as smooth as possible. First of all, I hope that you will like the new format of the video. I decided to show you England while I'm talking about preparation for moving to another country. Everything was filmed by me on my recent journeys. I've lived in Britain for the last 3 years, and I'm going to share with you my experience and how I prepared to move to the UK. Let's imagine that you want to move somewhere but don't know exactly where. You may dream of living abroad, like me, or maybe you're just fed up with your country and want to escape. We're all different and have different reasons and motivations. So don't worry about your reasons and choices. Not everybody will accept them, and that's normal. You can't please everybody and shouldn't try to. This is your life and only you are responsible for it. So if it's your dream, make it happen and don't listen to anyone. That's how I started my journey. The very first step is to decide where you would like to move. I know it may sound silly and obvious, but everything starts from here. You have to search for the visa conditions in that country and ensure you meet all of the requirements for the type of visa you are applying for. Every country has various visa categories, so choose the one that fits your situation best. The next necessary and obvious step is to start learning the language of that country. If it's an English-speaking society, you probably won't have trouble with this. But if people speak any other language there, you'll have to learn it. I know that English is a universal language, but not in every shop do people speak English. And if you need to work in that country, you will have to speak the local language. Trust me, I went through this process and I know what I'm saying. Even if you speak English, but want to work, say in Germany, you will see the German language is required in the job description. So if it's not an English-speaking country, start learning the language. The more you learn, the easier it will be for you when you move there. I speak 4 languages fluently and 1 at a basic conversational level. I had a dream to live abroad since I was 20 years old, and I started learning English using different apps and other available resources. Luckily, we have the internet these days and can find everything, and many resources are free. The next very important thing I would suggest is to think about how are you going to earn money in that country. Yeah, if you're rich and don't need to work anymore, or if you're retired and have a nice pension, that's fantastic and you don't have to worry about this step. But if you're like me and still need to work to support yourself, you have to think about what you can do in a foreign country. Let me explain my logic and it may align with yours. As you probably already know, it's not that easy to move to another country. You can't just pack all your stuff and go live somewhere. Otherwise, everybody would do that and the world would be a complete mess. You need a reason that allows you to stay and live there legally. I'm not talking about illegal ways. That's completely up to you, but I know that this way is not for me. Usually, to be able to legally live in another country, you need to either have a job offer, be a student in that country, invest some money, or open a business, or be a great athlete or famous person to apply for a talent visa. For the US, you can win a green card which allows you to live there. Because I didn't have money to become an investor, open a business, or even study in Britain, the only available option for me was to get the job offer. Even though I was a professional athlete and a national champion in my country, that wasn't enough for me to get the talent visa. So I started thinking about what I could do to get a job offer, because not all jobs lead to a visa. Usually, countries are looking for professionals who will earn money, pay big taxes, and contribute to the economy. There's probably no country in the world that wants people who will stay home, claim benefits, and do nothing. Don't laugh, I know this is a huge issue in many developed countries these days, but still, those countries don't want such people. That's why politics discuss what to do with those who claim benefits and do nothing. I'm not going to discuss this now, there is no point, but one thing I can tell you is that this life is not for me and I want to be on the legal side. So I decided that I needed to do something in life that would be useful in another country. My first idea was working with social media, and I opened a social media agency, which I had for 5 years. But then I started to hate it and decided to switch to the IT industry. That was a great move in my life that helped me to move to the UK. Again, I found some free resources on the internet to study and become an IT professional and get myself into this world. So everything is possible. But I'm not saying that you need to be in IT to get a job offer from another country. There are plenty of other jobs that other countries require, and usually you can check them on the visa requirements for that country. Your next step is to get a job offer. Apply for jobs in many companies where you would like to work. Don't apply to just one place and wait. Otherwise, your process will be very long because there is no guarantee that the very first employer will give you a job offer. I tried many different companies. Sometimes they can have a few rounds of interviews. Like in the IT industry in the UK, it's normal to have 3 to 5 rounds of interviews. And there is usually 1 interview per week, so it could take more than a month to complete all rounds of interviews for just one company. And imagine if they didn't hire you in the end. You would have to start the whole process again with another company. So it's better to apply for a few companies and have a few interviews per week. In the end, if you are successful with a few companies, you can choose the one you like best with better conditions. That's what happened to me. I received 2 job offers from different places, but the conditions and salary were much better in one company than in the other. It's nice to have some options. After you complete those first steps, decide which country you want to go and get the job offer, you can start planning your move. I like to write down everything to make sure I haven't missed anything. All the documents I need to prepare and everything I would like to take with me. But also you have to write down all the things you need to do before leaving the country. Let's talk about this. The things you usually need to take care of before leaving the country are the following. Close your bank account if you're not receiving any money in that country anymore or if you're not going to come back. End your contract with your mobile operator and your internet contract. Take it seriously and don't leave it to the last day. Trust me, it could take longer than you think. When I was moving to Britain, I went to my mobile and internet provider a week before my flight to cancel my contract, but they said they couldn't cancel it straight away. I had to apply for the closure of the account, and a week after that, I had to come to their office with my passport to actually close it. Can you imagine my stress at that time? I didn't have much time, or I would have had to cancel my flight, which is not cheap, and postpone everything only because of the mobile operator. If you don't cancel it, you will end up continuing to pay for it while being in another country, which is not cool at all. That's why I'm telling you that you have to at least check how long it will take to close your accounts or cancel your contracts. It may be obvious, but if you have any open credit, it's better to pay it off before moving. A friend of mine moved to another country without paying off his credit and he had to transfer money to his old credit card to pay it. But for transferring money from one country to another, you pay a fee all the time. The next point depends on what country you are moving to, but just in case, it would be useful to check what type of plugs and sockets people use in that country. We have so many gadgets and heavily rely on them these days, but if you can't charge them and your phone dies, it becomes useless. So it's better to have at least one adapter when you are moving. I thought that all European countries use the same type of plugs and sockets, and I was really surprised when I found out that this is not true. You may not find the adapter you need in the closest store when you are abroad, so you would better check if you need any adapters before moving to that country. The next very important point is to research the area where you are going to live. Usually if you get a job offer, you have to live somewhere close to your work, but still it's worth researching to know where it's better to live and what neighborhoods it's better to avoid. When I got my job offer, the company gave me the option to choose between 2 offices and select one where I would work. One office is in the middle of the country and another one is in the south of England. I did some research and decided that I wanted to live in the south. This place is much nicer than the other one, and I like living next to the sea. When I actually moved here, lots of people I've met and my colleagues said that the other city is a shithole. I know I can't say this about any city in the UK, especially as a foreigner, but these are not my words. They are from British people who live here. I'm just telling you what they told me. If I didn't do my research, I might have ended up living in that city. So do your research before moving to another country. If the company you're going to work for provides you with temporary accommodation, this is great and you're lucky. But if not, you have to find where you are going to live. It could be an Airbnb place or a room in a hotel, but it's got to be somewhere you can stay. I know, both options are expensive. That's why we are discussing this now, so you can prepare for this. Don't expect anything to happen automatically or that somebody will take care of you. If it happens, that's great, but it's always better to have a plan B. I know one guy who came to the UK under a skilled worker visa as a teacher. The school he works for couldn't provide him with accommodation, but they at least let him sleep in one of the classrooms at the school. He stayed there until he passed his probation period and was able to rent a place. Only after that he was able to bring his family here. And that's another thing you need to consider. If you have a family, everything is even more complicated. When you're searching for the neighborhood you want to live in, you have to check if there is a good school for your kids if you have them. Once you've checked all these things, have an open visa, and know where you're going and where you're going to stay, you can book your tickets and get ready for the move. Make a list of everything you want to take. Pack all your stuff. Don't forget adapters for your gadgets. Prepare all the documents and money, and off you go. I know that for some people, all these things sound obvious, but when you are moving to another country, maybe forever, or just for a few years, you are excited and nervous and it's easy to forget something. The most important thing is to have all the documents and money. Everything else you can buy. But maybe you want to take some things that are memorable to you. some gifts or anything else that may give you comfort and memories. Because you will miss your family and friends and you will feel lonely in the beginning. That's normal, and every immigrant goes through this. But give yourself time. My friends who have lived in the UK for 10 years already told me that the first year is the hardest, the second one is easier and better. And by the third year, you will feel pretty comfortable. And it will only get better if you work for it. And that's the same in every country. So don't give up too quickly. It will be hard in the beginning, but you can do it. It doesn't matter what country you're moving to. If this is your dream and it's strong enough, you will overcome the obstacles and live your dream life as I live mine here in the UK. I hope this video was useful for you. Please give it a thumbs up and subscribe to my channel. I live in the UK and I'm sharing my experiences about this country, offering some insights and advice from my perspective as an immigrant. I hope to see you in the next video and wish you all the best. Take care!